Okay, people, good morning. Welcome to BT 5360. Entire title is Reactive Species in Medical and Related Technologies. There is a story for this, about 10, 11 years old. When this course was being approved, there was a minor in medical biotechnology, and therefore, this was considered as an elective for that minor, or a course, basket course for that minor, course in the basket, not a basket course in the basket for that minor, and therefore it was termed in medical and related technologies. I would have been happy with just the reactive species part of it, but yeah, that is the name of the course, that is what has been recorded, so we will continue with that. Okay. My name is for people who do not know me, most of you do, and please use the S-mail address as for courses. The regular thing for non-course related aspects, you can use my IITM address, but please use S-mail for all course related communication, and that could be the major way by which we communicate. My time here is limited, do quite a few things, and I do not stay on campus, and therefore my time here is limited. So please send an email, I will respond within a day or so. Whenever you need to meet, we will certainly fix up an appointment and meet. There is full commitment to the students in the course. Everybody is able to hear me fine, right? There is no issue. Okay. And you can always call me, if I am around, I will pick it up. And my actual office is 203 block 1. It may not be a good idea to when you are walking by trying to meet me, because I may not be around. So, that is the only thing. If I am around, that is fine. If I am not too busy, I will certainly meet with you. But this we will fix an appointment, and if an appointment is fixed, I will fully honor it. Okay. And what else? Yeah. So, that is about me. Yeah, before I ask you, I have been working in this reactive species area from 1995 onwards. So, almost 30 years, 29 years or so. I started my independent research career at IIT Bombay in 1993. Okay. So, I am a bioprocess person, I am a biochemical engineer as it was called earlier. So, now biological engineer. So, my work was related to that. Initial work was an oxygen supply to bioreactors and so on and so forth, an age old problem, and got into this as a part of that larger problem, and then this became the major area for our research from that time onwards. We will talk about that in this course also. At some point in time, closer to my retirement, I still have about 6 years to go. Closer to my retirement, I thought I will write a book, a research monograph on the work that we have done so far. However, the opportunity to write the book came some years ago as an invitation. They asked me, can you write a book? And then I was planning this, so I said, might as well send a proposal, they accepted it. They said, yeah, you can do this. But then I said, the work is on, it will continue till I retire. What is the maximum time you will give me to write the book? They said 4 years. I said, fine, I will take 4 years. And luckily, at the end of the 4th year, which was December of 2023, some major piece of work had happened, some big contribution came through just about a couple of months before that was published. So, that was nice, it was nice to wrap up that book that way. Work continues, but I pivoted my area last stretch. So, more applied kind of a thing, where I know the end of my PhD students' theses, and so at least I can see the end of my PhD students' thesis. That was my main thing. Earlier I could see, but not so clearly. I needed to see something to give it as a PhD topic, but then I said that is taking a little too much of a risk. So, might as well be sure of the end when I give it itself. So, I pivoted to more applied things, and there was an opportunity to contribute in the microgravity area, publications in the knowledge in the microgravity area. So, we apply reactive species in the microgravity area and look for production aspects. And of course, as a part of that, we look at deeper aspects such as mechanisms and so on and so forth. But that is the overall direction in which we are going. So that is slightly different from the way we have done things. We have contributed to more fundamental aspects so far. And recently, the recent big publication, the work was done over 14 years. I did not give it to PhD students, of course. It was done by dual degree students and so on and so forth. It was put together over 14 years. The first 7 years of work, after about 5-6 years, I realized it worked, but it was not going to scale because of the lack of constants. So then I was looking for other ways, and there was a systems biology way of looking at it where you do not need the constants. So we took that. I thought the work gets over in 2 years because I knew the sources of all this data, whatever little data that is needed and so on. But it took 7 years, and then finally it was published a couple of months ago. That is the way it is. So that some background in terms of work. I am an alumnus of this place, chemical engineering. Then went to the US, did a PhD, came back immediately after that to IIT Bombay. And then from IIT Bombay, I moved to IIT Madras in 2004 when the new building was coming up. They needed somebody to take care of it and so on and so forth. So that was the attraction there. And I was the first formal head of biotechnology, put it together and so on. I put this together and then I went to IIT Hyderabad. Then that department also had put it together as the first formal head for the first couple of years, and I was associated with it for 10 years after that in some way or the other. And that is my background. Okay. So I thought I will get some idea as to who you are. Most of you I know, but the people I do not know who you are, what your background is, and why did you take the course. And why did you take the course could be I am trying it out, want to see what it is, and so on and so forth. Because I am sure you did not hear it was an easy course. It is certainly not. There are no exams in this course. Okay, absolutely no exams in this course. Not even that one exam that I had for transport. I can get away with that for the elective course. But it is not an easy course. So you might have been attracted by that, whatever it is. So feel free. I just want input. That's it. Where should we start? This I have some idea. We'll start here. The people I don't know. Yeah.
I'm Abhishek. I'm a final year dual degree student. So I was more interested into reactive species. I just wanted to know how they work and like what is the procedure and stuff like that. So
where did you hear about them? The reactors. Where did you hear about them?
like in general.
In general, okay.
Yeah, in general, while reading papers or like while working on projects, I just came across them. So.
Because reactive species have been explored as a research area for about 80 plus years. Okay, it is a very old area. It is not popular. Okay, so you do not get to hear. Good that you got to hear. There are 3 journals dedicated to this area, at least 3, now even more. There were 3, I think now it has gone up to 5 or 6, dedicated to this area and so on. Good. Yes, please.
I am Lakshmana. I am from NPTEL, Micro Nano Biofluidics department.
Micro Nano Biofluidics. Okay. You are the mechanical person, is it?
Actually, I am MBBS background.
Oh, okay, fine. You are doing a PhD in the mechanical department.
From life sciences, I got to do pursue tech in thermal micro nano biofluidics.
Okay. And how come reactive species?
Reactive oxygen species we have studied in pathology, inflammation. So most of the diseases, cancer background. So most of it.
Yeah, very true. And that you will come across quite heavily in this course also. Very nice. Okay. Ankita, I know she was required to take the course because she works with me. But apart from that, anything else?
So I read about this as antioxidants, and also especially in the course content there is a link and there were 10 units on it. So I started going through how oxygen, which is like a boom, and also its toxic effects and how this was. I started finding interest in that. So
good, thank you. The idea here with Ankita and Sujitra is they would use reactive species in a microgravity environment. We just started up the work about a year ago, so they would contribute to that. Both of them are PhD students. Yeah, we'll of course hear from Sujitra separately. Yes, please. Vikash, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm Vikash. I'm a first year MTech student from Department of Biotechnology, and I just heard about this reactive species during my bachelor's, where I had a course on vascular biology, which we had some touch of this reactive species in multiple pathological conditions. So maybe this course would give more insights about those pathologies.
You are interested in that. Try it out, feel free, see how the course goes over 2 weeks, and I will be happy if all of you stay, but if you have other priorities, feel free, there is absolutely no problem. Okay, this information is available on your Moodle page. We will mostly work with things that way, because I cannot play the videos here for copyright reasons on the other side. This will go out into the public domain, and I cannot be playing some copyrighted things. So, I will give you links through a page on your Moodle page. You just need to go and click the links when I ask you to, and please bring a pair of headphones, earphones, which you can access through, rather the videos you can access through either your laptop or your phone, something like that, through the Moodle page. Okay, that is the way I thought we could do this. I knew I would be restricted, but this is a little too much. That is okay, that is part of the deal. Okay. So, the objective of this course is straightforward: to sensitize students to the importance of reactive species in biological systems. The focus is biological systems, with a focus in biological systems, a focus on medical and related technological aspects. Okay. The content in brief: relevance of reactive species in the biological context and the need to study them. Reactive species of importance in biological systems: antioxidants, RS homeostasis, cellular responses to reactive species, the kinetics of it, the measurement of reactive species in biological systems, and reactive species are heavily involved in the signaling in the day to day working of the cell, in the signaling of cellular processes. We will do this. So, this is kind of the background kind of a thing, basic information which you need to pick up to be able to apply to anything. And then we will get into our work, but in a more generalized thing. The book is a lot more focused on the work. The roles of reactive species in the treatment technologies for diseases: radiation is heavily radiation for cancer. The basis is reactive species, as you would come to know in this course. And then our work: reactive species in other biological engineering aspects such as production, environmental aspects, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, this is the overall direction it will take. This just to give you an idea. We can always deviate from this. This is an elective course, and then if the deviation is worthwhile, then that becomes a part of this the next time I offer the course. So, it is an evolving kind of a course. It was first offered in 2014, so 11th time. It has evolved significantly. It will continue to evolve, and that is the way an elective course is. Whereas transport, the principles do not change for hundreds of years or 50 years plus, and therefore that will be the same. But that has you can apply it blindfolded. Here things keep changing, and so on and so forth. By the way, I am glad that nobody mentioned the math part of transport as the reason, because this course does not have any math. Okay. At best you will have a first order differential equation and nothing more than that. Okay. So, very little math, just to make some completeness. So, if you had taken it for the math part of it, you might be disappointed. Okay. So, because the transport is fully math. Okay. That's math based, this is not. The textbook as of now, till my book becomes available, my book would be directly related. This is a text which is more sort of a Bible. Okay, it has everything in it. Okay, so of course we won't cover all that is there. You take bits and parts, but it has everything. So I keep referring to that book. I have bought the last 3 editions of the book myself over the past 30 years. I have them. The latest edition, this was the book by Halliwell and Goodrich, latest edition, 5th edition, 2015. The title is Free Radicals in Biology and Medicine, Oxford University Press. Our library has an e-copy. Okay, so it has 3 physical copies as well as an e-copy. Physical copies we got some time back, and then Krishna Priya, who was the TA a couple of years ago, she followed up and got this to the library. She did all the work. I just had to e-sign at that place because it was during the pandemic period. And so this is available, this file is available on your Moodle page. So whenever you want, you can go and click here and get. I think there are 2 sources given. Please check which one works. I have the book, so I don't go here. So you might want to do that. In fact, I have my book at home because I was writing this book, my own book. Some references are given. If you need, you can take a look at them. And now to the course. This is for people who have not taken the transport course. If you have taken the transport course, you have seen exact same sentences there. I believe that learning is the most important aspect. Performances in synchronous exams for summative assessment are not important. So there are two major kinds of assessments, summative and formative. Summative comes at the end of a period. It is expected to, or it is designed to figure out how much you know. Okay. Whereas formative assessments are placed throughout the learning period, and they are designed to help you learn better. Okay. So that's the essential difference in philosophy. So I have a lot of interest in the learning process. I do experiments, as you might already know. I have papers in that area and so on and so forth. So the last paper I did 9 years of work before I wrote that up as a paper, things like that. So I after 30 years, rather I knew this right in the, I had a feeling right in the beginning, but after 30 years I have kind of crystallized this out, saying that formative assessment is my deal. Summative assessment I might need to do for the institute for the system purposes, fine, okay, I will minimize it as much as possible. Even in the undergraduate transport course, or effectively undergraduate transport course, I had one in-semester exam, and the rest were all formative assessments which were designed to help you learn as you go along. You get a grade as a part of it. So that's it, and most of you did well, and which was expected. The distribution will be heavily skewed to the higher grades. That's perfectly fine. This is not a competition. I don't believe learning is a competition at all. So that is where I come from, and it is ideal if the grade reflects the extent of learning. It will. That usually turns out. It's just that the numbers of A, S, and so on and so forth would tend to be a little larger because many of you are good. So that it gets reflected. I don't have to artificially make something difficult so that I have only a few S's and a few A's and a lot of B's and so on. So I don't have to do that. Here, whatever is natural comes across. So the evaluation will be something like this. You need to analyze the literature in this area that carries 40. I'll explain what these are. Analysis of literature 40%. Second one is equivalent to the CFA course. How can I leverage RS? See, this is not a fundamentals based course like transport, right. So it's not, you have so many fundamentals that you can apply it to anything, but something close to that, more with an applied ethos. So the exercise is called how can I leverage RS, and this is the equivalent of your end semester, but it's a take home exam. So you have an entire semester to work on your end semester, right. That carries 50%, and then we will have some assigned exercises, a few of them throughout the course. I will tell you exactly what to read, and just as an incentive for that, to make sure that you have read, I will have a 10-minute quiz at the beginning of the assigned class. Okay, it might come a week later, maybe the next class, and so on and so forth. I will make that clear when I assign it. This is essentially to broaden your view, but there will be many exercises, not everything will have an incentive quiz. Things that are essential for the course, they might be in incentive quiz. It might be about 3 or 4 or so. So let us look at this analysis of literature. Students need to choose an aspect of technological, medical or otherwise relevance that is impacted by reactive species. Then they need to choose and read about 10 to 20 papers that are relevant and present an analysis of the available literature. It is an analysis of the literature, it is just not a summary of the literature. Okay. Analysis of the literature toward the end of the course. This is just a presentation. So there will be 2 presentations per day. We will mark the end of the course period for that, and that's how the course will end pretty much. So then they need to choose and present an analysis of the available literature in class toward the end of the course. The presentation material and literature need to be submitted for evaluation. Essentially, you put it up all on a drive and then share the papers. You send the report to me. No written, sorry, not the report. No written report is needed for this. So, you do not need to submit a report. Just the presentation alone for this. So, the evaluation criteria is presentation 25%, participation. When others are presenting, you need to participate, ask questions. So, depending on the type of questions and the number of questions you ask, you will be graded. Okay. So, I will keep marking as you go along, and this works well. Usually I need to start it out by this and then people pick up. Once people pick up, they are interested, so they ask questions. So, there is no problem, just to start out. And then number of papers, you need to have at least 10 non-review papers that will be counted. So, in the number of papers that you share with me, I will count the non-review papers, research papers towards this. That will carry 10%, and of course, the quality of work is most important. So, that will carry 50% of the weight for the for this particular exercise weight. Any questions on this? It is a straightforward literature survey, and only a presentation. There is no report that is needed, but you need to share your papers with me. Okay, let us move forward. How can I leverage RS? This is equivalent of the CFA exercise, it is different. This is a semester long exercise. Students need to think of ways to leverage RS toward desirable outcomes from preferably biological systems. Okay. This is the way our research group has been doing things. So, some sort of, but feel free, you do not have to follow whatever we did. Rather, you should not follow whatever we did. A concise report submitted a week before the last class will be evaluated on the following criteria. Originality in approach is 30%, because there is a lot of originality there. Details, how much detail you give so that it can be translated as easily as possible, that is 30%. Doability, how doable it is. Is it 50 years, is it possible 50 years down the line, is it possible tomorrow, is it possible 5 years down the line, or how much of detail are you giving? The actual time could vary. How much of detail are you giving so that the doability is apparent? Okay. That is what will count for this. I will put up some good reports, you can take a look at them certainly. I have quite a few now. So, that would give you an idea as to what you could do. And then presentation is presentation of the report. There is no separate oral presentation, this is presentation of the report. Presentation means how well you communicate. I read it once, I need to understand it. That carries 8% of this 10%, 2% is the professional appearance of the report. So, on e-report, again a plagiarism check needs to be done through Turnitin. I can give you an account. Complete and the complete Turnitin report, not just the receipt and things like that. Complete report needs to be appended to the main report. So, you take your report, you add the Turnitin report and send it as one file or share through a drive or something. Any questions on this? Very similar to the CFA report, only thing is that the emphasis is not on application of principles to new situations, but how can you use RS towards a desirable goal, that is it. Any questions on this? Okay. Incentive quizzes, students may be needed to learn some information outside the class. The first 10 minutes of the class after the learning assignment will be spent on an incentive quiz. I will tell you exactly when, it may not be the exact class after, but or the immediate class after, it can come a week later or something like that. The incentive quiz is to ensure that you learn the material to the extent possible at that stage. The incentive quizzes will be open book, open notes, okay, same as the transport course. So, this is an opportunity for you to learn. You have read it, you got a certain level of information, you have learned a certain level of information. When you look at it from the context of the question asked, you go back, read it, you get new information. If you have not read it, you will not even know where to look. Okay. So, in 10 minutes it is not possible to do very well and so on and so forth. So, it is the exercise itself, the design of the exercise itself takes care of all the non-idealities. So, if you have forgotten or if you are unclear, or you did not see it this way, you go back, take a look at it, you learn from there. Okay. So, you learn and then you have 10%, so that is okay, 10% just as an incentive for you to learn. Okay. I need to say this because sometimes it happens. Last time there was one report, I will tell you that story. Academic dishonesty in any form is totally unacceptable, will not be tolerated and will be dealt with seriously. So, please do not do this. What happened in the transport course, in fact, I was very happy that for 3 years before the pandemic, because of repeated communication, there were 0 cases of academic dishonesty in the CFA report. Okay. I was very happy. Then pandemic came, suddenly 4 cases. It was quite easy to find out. So, 4 cases, and then next year it went down to 1 online, and then we came back, there was some 2 cases or something like that. I said fine, I need to communicate. No, actually it came down to 1 again, or there were none. 2022 I think there were none. 2023 there was 1, and the person submitted a report that was highly specific, and I sit in front of the computer and grade, right, because I do keep doing searches, I know how to search and so on and so forth. In this case there was a plagiarism report, very little overlap. Okay. So, that has been verified, and it is unlikely that the person tampered with the report and so on. So, went and search, I could not find, but this level of maturity is not possible from the student. I was very certain, because this was a transport course. The person had analyzed a fluid enclosed in a cube with the lid shaken, and what happens to the flow there. Such specific, that is just not possible for a person who has taken an initial course on transport where fluid flow is only one part of it to do this. So, I talked to the person, and the person kept saying, no, I took this course and this was done as a part of that course, I took it further. And then I bought it, and then I said, no, it does not still fit in. Then I went back to the person, asked him, no, explain this, the person could not explain. And then he said, no, actually my friend did this, and then I took this, and so on. So, kept on doing this, I had nothing doing. Gave the person whatever the person deserved, and that was the end of it. So, what then I realized the person must have taken a report that has not been submitted as a paper, because that will show up in a search, or any repository. So, as a part of a course project or as a part of some minor degree, somebody had done it in some other country, this person has picked it up, and more importantly this person gave me MATLAB codes for that. That level of deception, and the person did not know a thing about what had happened. Very clear when I talked to the person. I talked to a couple, the others I just wanted to know what is happening. In this case I wanted to establish that there has been foul play, and then unfortunately, please do not do such things, just not worth it. If the person had just done whatever, the person is smart, done whatever, the person would have easily got at least a B or a C. Anyway, in addition, the relevant data in the form of figures, tables will be made available on the Moodle site. Students need to make a copy and consider these as a part of course notes. In this case, there is no exam. So, yeah, if you are maintaining course notes and things like that, these are considered part of course notes. At one point in time, I had a final exam. So, till I think the pandemic gave me the confidence to move forward without any exams, or at least openly consider this as the final exam. But so for that you needed the data. So, I asked him to make a copy and keep it as a part of their notes. It is not very relevant here. If you are maintaining notes, please do that. However, no course notes as text or PowerPoint will be made available. This is for the book purposes, the copyright issues. There should be no copyright issues till the book comes out. After the book comes out, I will use that as a textbook, and then everything is free. That is not a problem. Okay, class meeting details you all know. The runs in G slot, and the timings are Monday 12. Please note this, Monday 12, it is not Monday 1. Thursday 10 and Friday 9. I am not taking the Wednesday class. It is a 3 meetings per week class. So, I choose this as the timings, which is usually acceptable to the students also. Fine. Radhika just walked in. She is working with me for a PhD, and she will be the TA for this course. So, I asked her to be in 003 to redirect people just in case they come there. I left a note there because not everybody had, I think some people registered yesterday. So, for the people who had registered earlier, I had sent a note saying that this would be the classroom. So, some I think registered later. Any questions that you may have? Anything that you want to know? We have 5 minutes. If needed, I will go to the material.
Review papers.
By the way, review papers please read. That is where you need to start. Okay.
Available in website, internet or?
Yeah, anywhere. Library, internet is where we get most of our information. Journals, only in journals.
We can know selective websites or journals which we should go to.
I do not want to restrict you. Please feel free.
Actually, you told us there are 3 journals.
No. That is only in the reactive species, mostly reactive species biochemistry area. In fact, I do not even publish there. I publish in other sources because they are entirely biochemistry kind of journals. Even when we did this module, reactive species module, we published it in metabolic engineering rather than in these, because there it will be more useful with that kind of an audience. These people can also use it, but these people will not find the value so easily, whereas people who do metabolism and things like that will find the value easily. That was the reason. I will not restrict you, any journal is fine, feel free, rather keep yourself open to things. Start with review papers, okay. It can be a part of those 20, only thing is that I will not count towards a 10, that is it. You can put it up, you can share it with me, certainly yes, okay, that is no problem, but it will not count towards a 10, that is it. I go and count actually, painful process, but actually I go and count because I have given this to you. Only research papers, yes.
No review papers.
No review papers. There has to be a materials and methods or mathematical modeling, development, something like that. Yeah, any clinical papers will have materials and methods, so that should be fine. And if you want to do something slightly different, let us discuss. If it falls into the overall scheme of things, I will say yes. Mostly I mean it's a free to do thing. If you find a different way of doing it that I have not thought of and it fulfills the learning objectives, why not? Feel free. Okay. So, this is just some perimeters that I have given you, some constraints. If you want to go further than that, feel free, but let us discuss.
And ideally, what minimum amount of papers do you suggest us to read so as to get acquainted with the course?
About 20 to 25.
Per day?
No, per day. You cannot read that many. I cannot read that many, definitely. I will get tired. I will get tired after 2 or 3. I am talking of throughout the semester. Over the entire semester period, about 20 to 25 would. These are all rules of thumb. You choose something very specific, then you never know. You might need to pick up the background and then a lot more information on that specific area. So whatever you feel, you choose. It can be over a wide range. There is absolutely no problem. Only thing is that it has to be reactive species relevant. There should be some reactive species somewhere there, which is not a problem, because as you will find out, it is there everywhere, and so it is not a problem at all. Okay, very quickly, we have 1 minute left. I will just mark your current attendance. Of course, the first 3 days is, first 2 weeks is, will be treated differently and so on and so forth for people who join later or people who leave.